Página 56. A analizar. Paula and Santiago are talking about their classes. After watching the video, read Paula's comments, paying particular attention to the forms of the verb tener in bold, then answer the questions below. Notice that her name in Spanish is Paula versus Paula in English. Well, I'm going to read that section. Tengo 2 clases de psicología este semestre y son muy difíciles. Tengo que estudiar mucho. Nosotros tenemos mucha tarea y hay varios estudiantes que tienen miedo de recibir una mala nota. ¿Tienes tú una clase difícil este semestre? Okay, you wanted to pay attention to all the bolded words. What does the verb tener mean? If you don't know it, then this is a good time to guess. Because this is really what it is. You want to infer what it means by the context. Using the examples in the paragraph and what you know about verb conjugation, complete the chart with the forms of the verb tener. This is something that you can do for practice, and it's not going to count as tarea, but it's a good practice because you're inferring. If you already know the verb, you can do it, and maybe you don't remember for sure, but then at least you are trying to come up with what would be possibly the correct form. Number 3, using context clues to help you. What does the expression tener miedo mean? A, to have to. B, to need. C, to be afraid. Página 56. A comprobar. The verb tener. Tener, to have. Yo tengo. Tú tienes. Él tiene. Ella tiene. Usted tiene. Nosotros tenemos. Vosotros tenéis. Ellos tienen. Ellas tienen. Ustedes tienen. Notice that él, ella, usted have the same form of the verb as well as ellos, ellas, ustedes. That does not mean that they mean the same thing. It just means that the form of the verb is the same for all 3, but they all mean different things. So él tiene means he has, ella tiene means she has, usted tiene means you have. Just like ellos tienen means they have, ellas tienen, they have, female. Ustedes tienen, you all have. Okay, this is not a regular verb. So, as you can see, notice that the original vowel E changes to IE. So, in English would be the vowel E changes to IE in some of the forms. This is what is known as the stem-changing verb. You will learn more about stem-changing verbs in Capítulo 3. For now, just memorize the form of conjugation forms for this verb. Número 1. There are a number of expressions in which the verb tener is used where to be would be used in English. Okay, so these are special expressions with the verb tener, and here are listed as follow. Okay, tener años, to be years old. You express it with the verb to be in English, but we're gonna use the verb tener. So all of these would be expressed with the verb tener, but you're gonna notice we're gonna use the verb with the verb to be, and we're gonna use the verb tener in Spanish. Tener mucho calor, or just tener calor, to be hot, to be very hot. Tener cuidado, to be careful. Tener éxito, to be successful. Notice that mucho comes before the word, and that means very. Just like in English, it goes right before the word that is modifying. Tener frío, tener mucho frío, to be very cold. Tener ganas de, is an expression, to feel like doing something. Tener ganas de plus a verb in the infinitive. So I feel like playing tennis. So in Spanish would be Tengo ganas de jugar al tenis. Similar to English. Tener mucha hambre, to be very hungry. Tener mucho miedo, to be very afraid. Tener mucha prisa, to be in a big hurry. Tener que, to have to do something. Tengo que estudiar, I have to study. Just like in English, you say, I have to study, I have to clean, I have to sleep. In Spanish, we use the expression tengo que, and then another verb in the infinitive. Tengo que estudiar, tengo que dormir, etc. Tener mucha razón, to be right. Tengo mucha razón. Tengo razón, I'm right. Tengo mucha razón, I'm very right. Which we typically don't say in English like that, but that's what would be the equivalent. You get the idea. Tener mucha sed, to be very thirsty, or just tener sed, to be thirsty. Tener sueño, to be sleepy. Mucho would be very. Tener mucha suerte, to be very lucky. So for these, you need to use the flashcards to review the vocabulary, to learn them. There's many expressions. And again, all of these, you are now seeing them with their meaning, but in the examples, all the activities that you have online, you're going to be practicing them with sometimes context and images, which is very helpful rather than just having the grammar explanation. So again, we're just going over the vocabulary. It's not a full grammar explanation, because the point is you're learning language by first observing the expressions, trying to guess what they mean, and then you have a brief explanation like this of what it means, and then you go on to practice. And this is how would be most useful for you to learn. 2. Unlike adjectives, noun expressions do not change in gender and number. So what it means is that whether you have many people that are cold or one person that's cold, we don't change frío to fríos. We just say mis hermanos. The form of the verb tener has to agree with have, and then frío stays in the same way. So I can say tengo frío, I'm cold. Mis hermanos tienen frío, my brothers are cold. So frío, the word frío will not change. None of those words, años, calor, for hot, cuidado, careful, éxito, successful, those are not going to change. Those will stay the same regardless of the person. What will change is the form of the verb tener. Muy bien. Mi hermana tiene sueño. My sister is sleepy. Página 57. Ejercicio 2.24. ¿Qué tienen? Match the sentences to the appropriate picture. So you have 6 images and you have 6 sentences. So all you have to do is match them. Okay, that would be a good practice for you. Bien, now we're going to be practicing with ejercicio 2.25. Tienes ganas de. Página 57. Read the list of activities that Carla will do this week and indicate whether each one is something she feels like doing. Tiene ganas de. Or she has to do. Tiene que. Okay, the first one, estudiar para el examen de español. Do you think she feels like doing that, or she has to do that? Okay, so if I think that she is something that she has to do, I would say, Carla tiene que estudiar para el examen. Now the next one, número 2. Hablar con unos amigos en el centro estudiantil. So do you think she has to speak to some friends, or that she feels like? Tiene ganas de. I would say she feels like. So I would say tiene ganas de hablar con unos amigos en el centro estudiantil. Muy bien. Student center, obviously. Centro estudiantil. If you don't remember some of this vocabulario, then you need to review it, por favor. And then go ahead and do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that'll be your tarea. Let's look at the example. Activity 2.26. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Complete the paragraph with the correct forms of the verb tener. So you're going to read the paragraph and you're going to use the correct form of the verb tener. And this will be one way to review when we come together in our virtual class. I will ask some of you to give me the answer for specific ones on this activity. Okay, so go ahead and review. Actividad 2.27. ¿Cuántos años tiene? Page 58, página 58. Ask your partner how old the following people are. If you're not sure, guess and use the expression probablemente. Modelo, tu profesor de inglés. So the idea is that one student will ask, how old is your English professor? And the other student, whether maybe he knows or she knows or he or she doesn't know, or you can just guess, right? And you can say, like the example, mi profesor, or you can say mi profesora if it's female. Probablemente, if you're saying probably, you're guessing, tiene 35 años. Muy bien. And then for the one that is number one, so obviously it says tú. So that would be one student asking the other student their age. ¿Cuántos años tienes? And then the student has to answer the question. The second one would be, ¿cuántos años tiene tu mejor amigo? How old is your best friend? ¿Cuántos años tiene tu profesora de la clase de español? Notice I'm changing profesora because I am female. ¿Cuántos años tiene tu profesora de la clase de español? And then the student would answer. The next question, ¿cuántos años tiene el presidente de los Estados Unidos? How old is the president of the United States? Número 5, ¿cuántos años tiene tu actor favorito? How old is your favorite actor? ¿Cómo se llama? What is his name? Número 6. ¿Cuántos años tiene tu actriz favorita? How old is your favorite actress? ¿Cómo se llama? What is her name? Muy bien, prepare answers for those questions. Okay, página 58. Actividad 2.28. ¿Qué tienen? Describe the scenes using expressions with tener. Let's look at example where we have Ronaldo. And we want to use the special expressions. Ronaldo tiene razón. Ronaldo is correct, is right. So we see número 1, Lola y yo. What does it look like? Oh, looks like we are cold. Número 2, Marcia. What does it look like? Número 3, got a sleepy person. Número 4. You can also look at número 4. Número 5. Número 6. Okay, very good. Make sure that you look at these examples of these images. You form a sentence that goes one of those expressions. To be cold, to be hot, to be so many years old, whatever applied to that specific image.